So this past semester in college, I participated in this Effective Altruism reading group, which was super exciting. I was so glad to be a part of it. And yeah, I just wanted to contribute and learn from the discourses of society in a new way. I wanted to hear what people were talking about. And yeah, it was awesome. Essentially, Effective Altruism, it's this global movement based off of research. And just to distill it down, it has all sorts of different facets and covers different spheres. But in essence, it is all about how we can do the most good with the limited time and the limited resources that we have. And so again, it goes into many different spheres, but it does center a little bit around like money and time in a way. So it's all about like researching like the most effective charities that we can be involved with. What is how would you say it? Like, where is your dollar worth the most? And then in terms of like volunteering, what is going to produce the most good? So it's all about like maximizing good in terms of like the number of lives saved, the number, like health. And it's really cool. It's this like very intellectually curious community that's very focused on how they can like limit suffering in the world. And I learned a lot from this reading group. I thought that people were incredible, and I was just, really glad to be a part of it. And so I think like as I was engaging in dialogue with these people and just coming to know this ideology a little bit more, I just started to think about like what I liked in it, what I thought was missing. And even at the end, I was talking to a friend about like whether we see ourselves as effective altruists. And I don't know if I would. And I have so much respect for the effective altruism community. Like, I think incredible group of people who are really trying to bring about change in the world. But I was thinking about why. And I think as like a spiritual person and a person who believes in religion, I was also thinking about it from that side of it as well. As someone who believes that religion comes from God, it comes from a higher power. I know that an ideology that humans come up with obviously can have good elements and could be based in various spiritual teachings, but it doesn't come from God. And so sort of like, okay, if something is just coming from a human perspective, maybe there's something that it's missing, maybe. So I was like, okay, what do I think effective altruism is missing? Where do I think it could be better? All these sort of things. And so I was looking at this quote from the Baha'i Writings, the Baha'i Faith. And it's this quote from Baha'u'llah, the founder. And it says, "It is not the object of every revelation to effect a transformation in the whole character of mankind, a transformation that shall manifest itself both outwardly and inwardly, that shall affect both its inner life and external conditions." That's the direct quote. And these are like, beyond this, it's just my own personal reflections. This is not official at all whatsoever, just my own personal thoughts. But sort of when I think about this quote, I think about the purpose of religion in affecting hearts everywhere and affecting a transformation worldwide that affects both what we see and also what we feel in our hearts and the ways that we interact with each other. And I was reflecting on sort of the problems of the world, and I personally believe that the problems of the world are inherently spiritual in nature. For example, poverty. We know that like donating a lot of money to communities of poverty can be of great help. Hunger, maybe that's a better example. Like donating money can help communities who are in hunger. But the root of that problem is that our world collectively is not distributing food in the most equitable, just way. That's obviously an oversimplification, but just generally, that's a spiritual idea at the core of what hunger is. We're not being just in the way that we distribute our resources. Violence, even. We know that, we know that regardless of the weapon used, there has been violence all throughout history. And so we can blame the weapon, and of course, like, that is an issue in itself, but we've seen violence perpetuated throughout centuries. So at the core of that is this understanding that it's okay to harm one another when we don't get what we want. I don't know, just a sort of general idea. And so when we have these inherently spiritual problems in our world, that means that those problems, their inherent solution is also spiritual. And so when I was thinking about effective altruism and what it targets and what its goals are, I didn't always see a spiritual component that targeted the hearts of people and change in that sort of profound way. There's this one article that we read that compared in the reading group that compared something called a fuzzy versus a eudalon. And a fuzzy is sort of that like warm act that you do that makes you sort of feel good inside. And then a eudalon is something that's of actual use in terms of like saving life, for example. And one of the claims of the article was to purchase these separately, like view your fuzzies, the sort of thing that make the act of kindness or the opening the door for the old lady, like view that sort of act as entirely separate from your acts that are related to donating money to people in need, donating to malaria or whatever cause. And to see those pitted against each other, or not against each other, but to be viewed as separately, I don't know if that's bringing about the most effective, like, I don't know. Because the whole point of effective altruism is to be as effective as possible. But when I think about the word effective, effective isn't just saving lives. It's also about thinking how we can prevent the idea that lives could be in danger in the first place, which I think is targeting the root problem. There's this story in the Baha'i Writings of Abdul Baha, the son of Baha'u'llah, and the wife of Shoghi Effendi, the guardian of the Baha'i Faith, who had this dream that there was this massive flood, and people are dying in the flood, and the wife of Shoghi Effendi, Ruhiya Khanum, she's trying to help people out of the flood. She has this boat, and she's like reaching hands out to help people in her boat, and every time she saves someone else falls in, and so she's really doing her effort on the ground to like save as many lives as possible, essentially. And in that moment, it seems like the most immediate, important thing to be doing. And then she looks up at the top of the hill at Abdul Baha, the son of Baha'u'llah, and he's doing something at the top of the hill, and she can't quite tell what it is. And she's like pleading him to come help her and sort of solve this problem. And so he's not helping her, and she's calling out to him. And at the end of the dream, she realizes that he's building a dam to stop the flood. And the story really touches me because I think it is so important to be saving these lives from the flood. Like, that is obviously an immediate concern. Every life lost is tragic. And oftentimes when we're dedicating that time to stop the flood, it's not doing any, like, you might think that minute is lost if you're just sort of tinkering, whereas a minute spent saving someone could have saved a life. But in the long run, later down the line, you will have saved all of the lives. And I don't know. I think people have different justifications for how they view sort of like the long-term versus short-term effects. But when I think about this quote from Baha'u'llah, this idea of the object of every religion being to effect a transformation in the whole character of mankind, I think that is stopping the flood in a way. And it's building a whole new environment, a whole new ecosystem where people can live without the danger of being lost in the flood. I think that's mostly what I wanted to share. I have so much respect for the Effective Altruism community, and I think there's so much good in what they're doing. And I think the thing that could be added to sort of their philosophy is, what does it mean to be effective? Is it saving the most lives in the moment based off of the money that we have, or is it doing that in addition to like building our world from the grassroots to create a world where we don't have to worry about lives lost in the first place?